Hello. I am late this week, but better late than never, I say. We are recording from Minnesota, which is exciting. We happen to be home at this time, and my parents' home, and there's just something about it. I've been thinking about it. I took so many notes, and that's what I wanted to talk about today. What is it about going home? I want to talk about going home and what's that's like. And there's just so many things, but I've narrowed it down to 3 main categories. So I want to talk about those. But I was thinking, before I get into the 3 things, there were a few other things that I just wanted to talk about. Like, for me, when I was thinking about this, I was like, what is it about going home? Is it the childhood memories of like where you grew up, all the childhood friends you had, all the games you used to play when you were a little kid, in the neighborhood that you grew up in? Now, we've moved a few times since I was a little kid, so I don't have those memories when I come home, but it's just being around family kind of brings up those memories, even if you're not in the actual place you grew up in, which I feel like it's such a huge aspect of you growing up. All the childhood memories, all the memories with your family, with your childhood friends, and all the years from then until now are like, they just mark you in such an incredible way. And they're like friends you bring with you forever, and they're always with you. But you only really pull them out in like crazy situations, or like situations where you're pulling on maybe a trauma, or like a core memory from your childhood, of like a core foundational mindset, or when you come home. For some reason, it's like you always pull on those memories when you come home. You see your parents, your siblings, inevitably memories will come up, and you'll just talk about all the fun and joy that you've had in your lifetime, which is such a fun thing. It's such an exciting time, I feel like. And now, like, for me, I'm becoming a parent, married, becoming a parent, and we're starting our own little family and creating childhood memories for our own kids. It's like foundational times in a way. It's kind of cool. Okay, this next one, do not judge, okay? Is it the Hallmark movies? Bro, that's what I wrote. Okay, there's something about it that's invigorating. I know invigorating isn't the right word. It's like fuzzy and warm and cozy. Okay, I wrote this, but I think it smelled like this in our house, and I was watching a Hallmark movie at the time. Hallmark movies smell so good, like cookies. Why is that? Okay, now, Hallmark movies around the holidays are so much fun. It's just like you haven't read this book you read every year, and then you get to read it again. And there's something about every Hallmark movie, the way they start out and the way they transition and how the story progresses. It's just so warm and cozy. And if Hallmark had a smell, it would smell like sugar cookies. I promise you. Promise you. Guaranteed it would be sugar cookies. Because everybody likes sugar cookies. They're made of sugar and flour, bro. What's not to love? They're kind of bland. So again, it fits perfect because the storyline is almost always the same, but it never gets old. Okay. Something about Hallmark movies is like coming home. It's like they go hand in hand. When you come home, you watch Hallmark movies and the air smells like cookies. I don't know. That is such a good feeling. It's like warm and fuzzy, cozy. Like when you get home from a long day and then you shower after being like sticky and sweaty, you get into comfy clothes and you go and you sit on the couch and cuddle up with a blanket and watch a movie or a show or a book, or just get on your phone and watch social media, or just hang out with friends and chit chat. Like that is the feeling of a Hallmark movie going at your parents' house. So much fun. It's like the best feeling ever. I think my next one is, well, okay, I skipped one actually. I'm going to go back to that one. Parents in general. It's like, again, like a foreign, like an old friend that you're coming back to. And I think, like, just being by your parents and being now, like, you grew up with them, but now you're, like, friends. Like, you had to, like, listen to them growing up, and you didn't always like their rules, but then later on you realized they were good for you and they helped you. And now you come home and you're like friends, old friends, and you can grow closer through like all the hard things that you went through, because you did go through a lot of hard things and now you're better for it. So, I mean, that's pretty amazing. So I think being around parents is just, it can be a really amazing thing if you let it. And if you have kids, now they get to be around their grandparents. That's just a warm and fuzzy feeling in general. I said the memories, but it kind of goes with childhood memories. So I'm just going to skip that one. Family, is it just like the family in general? I think a lot of times if you have siblings or cousins that you're really close with, that's a super fun thing to be excited about around the holidays. Like, that is, when I think about it, I just get so excited. Now that I know that that's not the case for everyone, but for me, and I think there are some people that coming home to family is like such an exciting thing. It's fun, it's exciting. You get to like catch up on everybody's lives and laugh and play games and eat good food, the works. Is it the games? Like I just feel like our family games are like so much fun, and you get to laugh like the whole time. Sometimes it brings the flesh out, I'm not gonna lie, but most of the time we're laughing and having fun, and the babies are sleeping, and we're just able to relax and enjoy each other and play some fun games. The laughter, the joy, coming together, catching up. I kind of said all these things, like seeing old friends, like from high school or college or something, or neighborhood friends, this kind of thing. Just being together. I think one of the fun things is the food splurge. You get to eat like foods you normally never eat, number one, because people always go out of their way to buy like or make really fun, elaborate foods when they come together, like a potluck style or something. Everybody bring a meal, or dish, So, and it's usually a little bit more elaborate around the holidays, like, more Pinteresty, that kind of thing, which is fun in general, and it just is a fun excuse to eat really nummy foods, and I feel like, it's just a fun thing, You know, it's exciting. Oh, what are we going to see? What are they going to try? What are you going to try? What are they going to make? What are they going to bring? Yeah. I think baking and cooking are two really fun things. Like cooking together, like waking up in the morning on Thanksgiving and cooking together and laughing and watching a movie while you cook, or some people running in and out of the room telling jokes, like talking while everybody else is cooking, like people watching other people, kids running around. You know, baking and cooking is like an event in its own right. And baking, like all the sweets and treats and the fun morning, like egg bakes and delights that people make. Ugh, so good. And you're just getting together and you're waking up in the morning and cooking together, and then you're going, you know, in the evenings you're cooking together, and it's just a solid family time that is so precious. So precious. Okay, all that to say, there were 3 main points that I wanted to go over and talk about why going home is the best. I named a lot of things in the beginning, but the 3 main points I want to talk about. So number 1, nostalgic memory lane, the good, the bad, the hard, and the best times in your life thus far is one of the reasons why it's so good to come home. And I think the reason I say this is because reliving those memories either brings you closer, either you can solve unsolved problems, or you can, you know, grow closer, or you can just go down memory lane in the good things, and you get to relive it in the best way. The lessons that you've learned along the way, you kind of remember those things. If it's like a hard thing, something you learned, the bad and the hard, you know, the lessons that you learned, and maybe you remember that and how it was hard but good, you know. Thinking back on who you used to be and how you used to, you know, get upset with people and become bitter quickly with people, but now those things don't bother you anymore. Whatever it is, you know, maybe you used to have a hot temper and now you don't, you know, just things how you used to be as a kid. I remember thinking back, like, I used to be kind of like an angsty kid at one point. Like, I would just get irritated and then bug my younger siblings, just because I was bored, you know? But now, when I'm bored, like, I will go make a video, or I'll record something, or I'll make a podcast, or I will work, you know what I mean? Or I'll go for a walk. Oftentimes, Everest and I will just go for a walk, because you're burning off steam, you're burning off extra energy, and then you're also getting fresh air, and you're busy, and you're, like, entertained by looking around, you know. So, and then who you are now, like the contrast between who you used to be and who you are now, and how you've changed and how you've grown. And those things, I know when I get around my sister and we often will talk about, like, how we used to be and how we are now and how we've changed. And we always talk about, like, this one summer when we were both super depressed, and we would go on these long walks on the back roads in the town that we lived in, and we would drink liquor and eat salads, and we were skinny as all get out. We were super depressed, and we were, like, always drunk, really. And it was just a really hard time for both of us. It happened to be a really hard time for both of us, but we were there for each other, and it's actually a really fond memory, and it's a memory that her and I look back on super fondly, even though we were in a really tough place in our lives. And thankfully, we're both not in that situation anymore, but even though it was a hard time, we just really bonded over it and grew closer and just really enjoyed each other through that time. And we always will talk about it, just not that we'll ever want to go back to that situation or whatever, but like how it was just her and I, and how we got to just be together and go on bike rides and walk down the roads and go jump in the ponds and just be our wild selves. And it was just really fun. It helped us get through a really hard time. So, who you still want to be, I think that's something also that my sister and I will think about, is like the dreams and the goals and the aspirations, and we kind of like feed off of each other what we would like to do and how we would want to change things and what improvements we'd like to take in our lives, and really encouraging each other in that we can achieve those things, that we can go for them, that we should do those things, and really just building each other up in that, like also like your dreams. And I think that's a topic that my sister and my mom and I really, and my sister-in-law, we just really enjoy talking about the dreams and talking about the goals and talking about where we want to go and what we want to do. I think we don't get to talk about it enough, but it's still a time of like bonding and inspiration when we come together, because we're always growing and we're always changing. We're never not changing, even if you're changing for the worst. If you're changing for the best or the worst, you're still changing, because your mindset is always changing based on your books and the people you read and the people you meet, the books you read and the people you meet. So, and that's always changing for everyone. Places you want to go, things you still want to do. This is a big one, because a lot of times in life, as life gets going, sometimes it gets harder to be able to go do all the things. But going and doing doesn't have to be a physical location. It could be like your job, or it could be places you want to go, in the town that you live in, like a tour, doing all the touristy things in your hometown, because a lot of times those things fall by the wayside, and then you never saw the things in your own hometown, and then you move and you never saw those things. Like, we lived in Texas for a long time and we never went to Waco, and so it's like, oh, that's such a huge touristy thing to do, like Chipping Gloria Gaines or whatever. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. And so there are fields, I don't even know what it's called, but we never went. And so it's like, oh, like, do those kind of things, the impact that you've had in your life. And I think a lot of times we don't really understand the larger picture of the impact that we've had on the people around us as children, as young adults, as adults and beyond. And so I think talking about the impact that we've had on each other and the impact that we've known that we have had on other people is a really awesome and inspiring thing to talk about and to reminisce on and grow in and from. Okay, number 2, reuniting with family you don't get to see all year round. So number 1 was nostalgic memory lane, the good, the bad, the hard, and the best times. And then number 2, reuniting with family you don't get to see all year round. the opening hugs and the joy of just seeing each other is so much fun. I just love when people get there and you're like, hey, take your jacket off, like, come sit down, like, we're doing this already, so come join us, this and that. Like, we have cookies over here, and we're playing games over here, and we're cooking. Did I say that already? We're like, the kids are coloring over there, and the boys are, playing games over there, whatever. People are having drinks over here, It's so much fun. It's exciting. It's the beginning of a great day. The anticipation of being how you were when you were kids and the history that you've had. I think I wrote this down, and it's so cute because you have all this history, like not just immediate family, but like cousins and aunts and uncles. There's like that anticipation of how you were when you were kids, and the grown history that you've had with your family and the love that you've shared throughout your lives. And then when you come together, it's like, okay, we already have a foundation. And sometimes you'll get around, and sometimes it's not always like that. Sometimes it's very, like, there's not much of a foundation, and it's very surface level with family because you don't really get a lot of time to chit-chat and to really dive into the deep, parts of your heart and share. And sometimes people don't want to share that, and there's some people that hate small talk and just want to talk about real things, and I understand that. We don't always have all that time, especially with big family gatherings like ours. But you have a history together, and you know things about each other, and you like and you admire certain things about each other, and you go in with that kind of foundation, which is just able to build on a stronger foundation and a bigger friendship. And I think that is really special and exciting and fun. And I just like to grow that foundation and grow and foster that friendship and get to learn more about the people in my family, And I especially don't get to see a lot of cousins and aunts and uncles with where we live throughout the year. So coming to see them was really awesome. Like, specifically, I got to go out into North Dakota and visit a lot of other extended family that I normally don't get to see all year round. And now that my grandma isn't around anymore, she's gone on to be with the Lord, we really don't get together as a big family, as our family is way too darn big. I mean, I don't know how many 100 people we have, probably 100, I don't know, I'm not going to even guess, probably 150. But, like, it's so darn big. I mean, yeah. So, I said this, I'm going to go back to what certain things I said. I said the anticipation of being how you were when you were kids and the history that you've had, yet it's changed. You all have. Yet you're so connected, and change is so special, and you get to find out all over again about the ones that you love. It's like an adventure, like a long-lasting best friend you've always known. And I really like that. Something I said was, you have this history and foundation, and yet it's changed, and that you have this connection, and that it's so special, and that you get to relearn your best, one of your really good friends, which is a family member. You get to relearn about what's going on in their lives right now. You haven't seen them all year, so now you get to kind of hear a synopsis of their year, or what is the highlight of their year, perhaps, or what is the Lord doing in their lives right now, if you have that kind of relationship with those in your family. Yeah. It's like a rekindled friendship. I don't know. I always sense my heart lifting with joy and the Lord's presence. It's like the Lord gets giddy when we get reunited. And I can always feel it, like so much joy. It's crazy because I feel this like rising joy in my heart and in my stomach and in my spirit when I get to be around family. It's just like such an exciting thing. And so much is going on in so many different people's lives, and people are so busy, and so many amazing good things are happening. And so I just get really excited to hear what's going on in in their lives and support them and celebrate them. And I just think it's the Lord's heart, the holidays, getting to celebrate those that you love, and just enjoy each other and enjoy each other's kids and spouses. And yeah, it's special. Okay, so number 1, I said, going back, was nostalgic memory lane, the good, the bad, the hard, and the best times. And number 2 was reuniting with family you don't get to see all year round. And number 3, make new memories. You get to meet new love interests of your favorite people, i.e. my brother is now dating someone, that kind of thing. You get to play games. You get to go on winter city adventures, shop, get ice cream, and laugh a lot. I don't know why I said ice cream. Like, you would think it'd be like hot cocoa in the cold, but if you live in like California, okay, maybe you get ice cream. Because why would you not go to, what is that place called? That's like my favorite ice cream place. Salt and Straw. Yes, best ice cream in the whole world. But yeah, you get to make new memories is number 3. You get to meet new people. Like, we have someone new coming. My brother's dating someone, which is so exciting. And you get to make new memories. And I think that is an extremely, extremely special and exciting thing. I already talked about cooking together, but cooking together is always a new experience. This year I'm going to make a YouTube video about cooking some like pumpkin epic bars or whatever. And everybody's planning a meal or a dish that they're going to make, and then everybody's going to come together and share it. So we all have to make our own dishes. So obviously it's going to be chaos in our kitchen, which is exciting and fun. I get to meet, like, Everest gets to meet all the other kids in our family that have been born and are growing up and getting bigger now. So that's exciting. All the other little cousins get to play together. We get to bake holiday fun things together, like gingerbread house contests, cooking, baking contests, cooking, decorating contests. I know it's not Christmas, but I have seriously considered getting a gingerbread house to decorate on Thanksgiving, since we won't be with my family over Christmas. So, it's still up in the air. We're still have to go to the grocery store before Thanksgiving. So there's that. Early morning coffee, long talks about the Lord and growing in faith together. I love that. We do this a lot in my family. My whole family gets up early and we sit out. In this case, where my family lives now, we used to sit outside and when it was warm, but now that it's cold, we often will sit in the dining room, and it's like all windows in the dining room, so we can sit out. My dad has a bird feeder, and we can watch the sunrise and just like talk about the dreams that we had, and talking about the Lord and what we're reading, and just waking up together, which is super fun. Church mornings are super fun to get ready together and go and see who's at church and worship the Lord, this kind of thing. Late game nights, so much fun. Lots of laughs, lots of banging on the table, lots of drinks, lots of snacks. So much fun. Days when there's nothing to do together because you've been together so long, so you go into town and shop. This is so much fun. And I put a crying smiley face because it's so true. You'll get together for like a week at a time, and then you've been together so long and there's like nothing left to do. So you'll just go and shop and see what's in town. You'll go to the mall, or go for a walk. You've done so much, and I just love that. It's a lot of fun. And the town that my parents live in is so small that there's like nothing open, but there are a few restaurants and like couple coffee shops and a boba shop and a smoothie shop. So that's exciting. We can take advantage of those. Horseback riding, we used to do this a lot in the winter, but now where we live, we don't have the opportunity, so it doesn't work. Ice fishing, we do live on a lake, so that is exciting. Ice fishing is a lot of fun, but this year the ice has not fully frozen, so we still have a week, and it's been steaming like crazy, so I don't think it's gonna freeze in time for Thanksgiving, but we still have a whole week, so it could. Playing Catan, it brings out the flesh, but big time, but it's a super fun game, and if you can control the flesh, submit the flesh to the Lord, you can play this super fun game. It's super fun if you can relax, Movies, Hallmark and Cry. I already talked about Hallmark movies. Just sitting there watching the kids is so much fun, and watching the kids interact is like all the entertainment you need literally in one day on the holidays. The last thing I put down was just being together and loving each other. And there's so many other things I just didn't even write down, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about it and share just some of my thoughts about the holidays, and hopefully there's something that inspired you or something that encouraged you to do with your family over the holidays. And please subscribe, please write a review, and I will see you next week.